welcome to all. Myself Chanchal here, and I will be presenting on new approaches of learning mathematics. And this is a Gujarat State Board school education sponsored program. Actually, here our main objective will be how to learn mathematics or teach mathematics in a very nice and effective way. So, my presentation will be covering many aspects of what is the problem in existing math education and how we can overcome all those things. So, with these thoughts, I am starting my presentation, and let us go ahead with my presentation. This is actually my presentation on teaching mathematics in 21st century. What we are trying to do that we are living in a technological age, and we should use technology in teaching and learning mathematics. So this is my main objective, and I feel that we don't require to teach every mathematical aspects to each students, because many of the students learn mathematical concept very easily without any problem, and some techniques, if they get, they can learn whole A to Z of mathematics. So our service is to supplemental support in mathematics education to all students. This is our program, and my first quote is that mathematics is for solving real life problems, and this is some subtle difference between the our perception on mathematics. We think that mathematics is solving puzzle. It is not like that. It is not a puzzling to pupil. It is solving human problems. So this is, we have to keep in mind whenever we think of mathematics. We should first ask why we learn mathematics. What the real life problem it is solving. It is not that for puzzling or it is not for a puzzle. So we should keep it in mind before learning mathematics. So my objective is to explain a new approach of teaching mathematical concept. So this is another thing we are doing. We are not teaching mathematics. We are teaching mathematical concepts. So if you understand mathematical concept, then you can solve any problem. So our objective is to that at present, if you think that what is mathematics, anybody will answer that it is lot of formulas, lot of equations, lot of symbols like that, and it appears that it is infinitely formulas, infinite equations, and it is very difficult to remember. But what we are thinking that if we see these problems geometrically, then what will come out, it is some points, some lines, some surfaces, and some solids. So from that, if you think look into the mathematics, then it will be some problem related to point, line, surface, and solids, and very easy to understand that things. So this is the we are trying to change the perception of mathematics, and anybody start with looking the mathematics from geometrical angle, then his mathematics will become very easy to understand and learn. So with that, we will be going our next slide. With this objective, we have established Dash Math Lab, and here we are trying to promote our mathematical thoughts. Here two things we do. Our one of the service is that we provide supplemental support in students, and those are remotely located. They don't have much good teacher, not good school, or not good infrastructure. So how they will learn a very advanced mathematical concept? So our plan is that if the student join with us, we can provide them supplemental support in mathematical learnings and mathematical concept easily to understand. So our objective of Dashmath Lab is to be world leader in simplification of advanced mathematical concept. This is another of the work we do. The mathematical concept, whatever already we know, that is so complex that it is very difficult for a student to learn. So what we are trying to do, we are simplifying those advanced mathematical concepts, and we are trying to bring it in the real life problems so that students can understand those concepts easily. So this is our one of the main objective. And now the question comes obviously that why we require a new technique of teaching mathematics. So for that, my answer is that now world has changed. World has changed in the sense that we are living in a advanced mathematical, advanced technological age. Advanced technology, we have lot of technology for solving mathematical problems. So I have listed some of the easy available tools. MS Mathematics, it is freely available in internet, you can download, and this is very effective for solving any sort of mathematical problems in school education, even college also. Then Mathematica is MATLAB is not Mathematica is available. It is difficult in the sense that it requires some coding knowledge, but once you start using, then you will understand that what is that you can solve any type of problem with Mathematica. Similarly, MATLAB also, it is chargeable, not free, but you can do lot of things with MATLAB. Scilab is similar to Mathematica or MATLAB. It is freely available and anybody can access it, download it, and you can use for solving mathematical problems. Similarly, GeoGebra, another interesting package software where you can do calculations, graphing very easily. And nowadays the Google calculator means anything you just type in the Google and it will give you the answer. So dy dx, suppose d sin d dx sin x, so it will give you the answer. You need not go for any advanced thing. So Google also directly you can get the mathematical problem solving tool. So with this we are starting this mathematics lab, and this actually we have done one lecture on 28 March 2021 as a part 1, but what is required to be learned in school, that we have done many research on that. What is required to be learned in school from class 1 to 12. So we have analyzed all these things in syllabus. Mainly we have taken a NCERT book, a CBSE book, and we have summarized all the things in mathematics that a student should learn. So you can see this in total in 12 years from class 1 to 12. There are total 182 mathematics chapters, and a student has to learn these 182 chapters in 12 years. And many of the concept or ideas are repeated in many classes. It starts, suppose you take a number system. Number system starts at class 1 and it goes on class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, class 8, up to class 10 we learn, even 11 we learn number system. So number system is being taught up to class 11, means 11 years we learn number system. So you can understand the gravity of those things. So we take very casually, and we have analyzed that how we learn all those things. I am showing that these 182 chapters, and in that class 1 there is a 13 chapters and then 15 chapters, class 2 14 chapters. You can see all these things in CBSE syllabus. And the corresponding Gujarat board also, this concept will be same. There may be presentation, maybe a little bit up and down, but what are the topics are common. It does not depend on whether you are learning mathematics in London, India, USA, Bangladesh, Nepal, nothing matters, because all those common things are common to all syllabuses. So I have taken a standard syllabus which is followed throughout India, and these are the things. Once we understand this, how it been designed and programmed, then it will become very easy for us to understand. So you can now I am trying to show that which topic we learn in different classes. So you can see that there are it is displaying 27, but actually it is, I think, 29 different topics are there. And this is the group. I have color coded some groups. You can see that first group is pink color, and that is geometry and numbers. You can see that geometry and numbers start at class 1 and it goes up to class 10, 11. Then some topics like arithmetic operation, mensuration, money, data handling. Data handling, again, it is a we can say it is a statistics, starting of the statistical analysis, and it starts at class 1 to 8, and then from 9 onwards the name change statistics, but I think this is the data handling is the starting point of statistics. So that we start learning from class 1 and it goes up to higher class 11, 12. So similarly, ratio, proportion, algebra is introduced in class 6. You can see that 3 new topics. In addition, many things dropped. That algebraic operation, money, data handle, these 2 chapters, and mensuration, it is stopped, but mensuration again enters in geometry. So it is not that it is stopped there, but in class 6 we start learning 3 things new: ratio, proportion, then mensuration, and coordinate geometry. So algebra is one of the important subject which is introduced in class 6, and similarly mensuration, coordinate geometry also, coordinate geometry, statistic, probability, proof of mathematics, mathematical modeling, and all start in class 9. You can see we have given color code, and the main problem comes in later phase 11 and 12. We can see that the set theory, function, limit, derivative, differentiation, integration, differential equation, all this topic only 1 year we study. So these are but all the higher mathematics depends on these topics, and we are in the end of the our school level, we are forced to learn all these things in a very short period of time. These are the advanced topics, and there actually I feel the problem starts. And these things I have enlarged in the next slide. You can see this enlarged proportion here, geometry, number, arithmetic operation, all those things. So you can see that our number system is skewed in primary stage classes, and then there is secondary school classes. There are some topics introduced, and at the end we learn this calculus, integration, differentiation, and matrix, linear algebra, probability, statistics, like that. Advanced topics we learn in next thing. So in that way, if you can see this is the middle portion of our courses, and here you can see these new chapters are all skewed in right direction: coordinate geometry, statistics, probability. So once you know that the structure, when a student required to learn what trigonometry comes in class 10, 11, 12, you can see that and the derivative comes in 11. So this way you can very much focus on what is required to be learned. And here actually the main things come with linear programming, vectors, determinant, matrix, infinite series, mathematical reasoning. All these topics comes in 11 or 12. So in 12 what happens actually, the student face problem in they have to appear for board examination, they have to appear many competitive examination for getting admission to good colleges. So their focus is on preparation for examination. So it is very difficult for them to concentrate on learning the concept behind this differentiation, integration, differential equation. So they at this time I think a student get more maximum mental stress problem they face maximum in this stage, because they have to learn this advanced concept, and at the same time they have exam pressure, they have competitive examination and anxiety whether they will perform good or bad, and whether they will get admission to a good institutions, and then choices of their future career also depends on this stage. So they have to think whether they want to be a mechanical engineer, civil engineer, doctors, engineer, whatever, architect or many other things. So this is the thing what I feel at this stage we should have introduced these topics a little early, so that they can have use this, learn this and concentrate on using this in competitive exam very nicely. So that should be the approach of school education, and this is not possible at present setup. So we as a startup we are trying to do, and the way we teach these topics that very easily a student from 8, 9, 10 they can learn all those advanced topics, because we everything we teach in mathematical modeling and animation. Mathematical modeling and animation mean what we do, any mathematical concept, whether it is calculus or trigonometry or coordinate geometry or vector, anything, or complex numbers, everything you can do very easily in MS Excel. MS Excel is a very nice package where you can solve any sort of mathematical problems, and beauty is that you can model it. Model in the sense there are suppose calculus concept. So calculus, when we learn dy dx, sin x is equal to some cos x or something, x square is equal to 2x, all these things, and matter ends there. But we never get the physical significance of that, why we do it and what we get out of it. So when you learn through mathematical modeling, it becomes very easily. So that is our main focus on that. So here what we have done, that we are giving emphasis on each subject, how much gravity each subject carries. And here you can see that the total topics from class 1 to 12, the mathematics topics, there are every class what are the mathematical topics, it is in given here. So you can think that it is 13, 15, 13 chapters, I should say that 13 chapters, 15 chapters, 14 chapters in each class. And there are class 9 there are 17 chapter, 10 17 chapter, 11 18 chapter, 12 calculus and differential equation all introduced in here, and this is 15 chapters. And corresponding to that you can check that the number topics, how many number chapters are there on numbers. And in class 1 there are 7 chapters in numbers, out of 15 7 chapters in number system. You can see that 50% of the mathematics book of class 1 is being taught about numbers. So you can feel the gravity of number system, which we take very casually in our academic system. So with that you can see that there are 53 chapters, total 53 chapters in out of 182 total chapters. So you can see almost one fourth of the chapters are on number system. This is graphically I have shown that in which class how many total chapters and corresponding math chapters. So graphically you can see there are 12, there is nothing direct in number system, but up to 11 number system is I added complex numbers here, complex numbers added in class 11, but up to real number we study from class 1 to 10, all this natural number, then whole number, then integers, then fractional numbers, then rational numbers, irrational numbers, and then real numbers, all we study from class 1 to 10. And that time also, that why we require that much long time to learn only number system, that is also shows a gravity of those things. But in general, my first research outcome is that we take these chapters very lightly, and the problem we face in later stage in our college or higher studies is one of the reason is that. So here class 1 there are 7 chapters, and total 7 chapters, I should say the these chapters how we start it. First there is a pattern of teaching. First they introduce class 1 number 1 to 9. So students are encouraged to identify number 1 to 9, then write it, read it, and all those things. And after that second chapter it start adding that single digit number adding, then single digit number subtraction, then again they introduce the numbers 10 to 20. So now the 2 digit numbers they learn, writing this 2 digit number, relating to the counting, all those things comes. And then separately 21 to 50, and then 50 to 100. So this can you can think that how slowly they build up this number system, class 1 to 9, then 10 to 20, then 21 to 50, 51 to 100, then like that, and in between they learn addition and subtraction class in class 1. So the parents those teaches a child, and teacher who teaches the child, they should understand that what is expected from a class 1 boy. So as per NCERT syllabus, they should class 1 boy, if he can read, write, identify, match, compare number 1 to 100, and then we think that he is good enough in mathematics, and you can but in what we do, we overemphatically we emphasize them to learn up to 1000. We try to teach them to learn division, multiplication in class 1 itself, and many students do that also. It is not that it is become difficult for them, but school syllabus does not expect that a student learn more than this. So similarly, if we go topic wise, there are what in that in those topics, the counting 1 to 10, 9 with physical object, they are given some object, and they are asked to count these things. So all these things comes, and it is apparently it will appear that these are the routine activities and easy activities, but it is one thing we go on trying these things. I will go on this. You can see this what is being written. I am not going in details, but I am just trying to summarize the issues what we come. All these things we are learning in isolation. Class 1, then again class 2. Class 2 again we start counting in groups, then counting in tens, then tens and ones introduced in one chapter, then our add our points. This is one some fun points. There are many dots with numbers, and they are students are encouraged to join those dots so that they get a good object or picture of something, and in the same in that way they can identify the numbers in sequential order or some other order. Then give and take one chapter. This is also related to transactions, what we transact required in real life, that we teach in class 2, and birds come and go. This is also related to counting of something. When we get something, what happens, when we give something, what happens, like that. So it is also topic is birds come and birds go. So very systematically all this system, very learned people has developed these things. So in class 2 you can see that there is nothing new they are learning. Whatever we started in class 1, they are being taught in class 2 also. So now these are the details topics. This I am not going to explain here. When we sit with a student, then we can learn. And this is many people who is in 10 or 12, they feel that this is class 2 chapters, we need not learn these things, but it is not like that. I think that in class, every class we should recap the earlier class math, whatever we have learned. If you these are all a journey means it is starting from step by step and step by step. So when you reach the 5th floor, you should not say that I don't require first, second, third floor. That 5th floor is standing on first, second, third, 4th floor. It is something like that. So it is not like that, that when you are in class 5, you don't require mathematics what you have learned in class 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is the foundation, everything, and always you should remember that why we learn that and where it is used. So in that sequence it is developed our mathematics systems. And now I can go to the class 3 chapter. There are 5 chapters in number system. Here you can see that fun with numbers. So here also we are using these numbers in different sphere of life. Then give and take, next chapter. This give and take also mostly deal with transaction in our daily life. Then fun with give and take, then subtraction, addition, all those things, transaction, everything in chapter 6. And then class 3 you can say that how many times means this is the multiplication. In this chapter multiplication introduced. And can we share, this chapter we introduce division. So up to class 3 we are only addition, subtraction, transaction, counting, all these things we are doing. But now I think it is how many times means it is a multiplication, and can we share, that is division. So you can see that these classes in class 3 we introduce multiplication and addition. So this is new topics added. So if you go on thinking on that, this is the details of the topics. I am skipping that. Again coming back to class 4, there are 4 chapters only. But a trip to Bhopal and then junk cellar, these two are related to use of this number system in addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. All these things are there. But in chapter 9, there are first introduction of fractional numbers. You can see this, up to this we have learned only natural numbers and whole numbers. That we should not forget. Up to class 4 we are only dealing with natural numbers and whole numbers. Natural numbers and whole number. I repeated many times. Up to class 4 we learn natural numbers and whole numbers. natural numbers are those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is counting, and this every civilization has developed this. When whatever civilization we talk about, the civilization can be different age, can be different area, different culture, but the counting system is same. Symbol number system symbol can be different, but all are counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like that. So these are the natural numbers common to everyone. And natural numbers, when added with 0, we get the whole number. So up to class 4, we should remember that we only study for natural numbers and whole numbers, nothing else. Then we introduce first, you can see that we have not reached the integers yet. We are introduce halves and quarters. Halves and quarters means it is first use of fractional numbers. When you divide any object, what will happen? So we require some numbers to represent that half or quarter. So that is being introduced in class 4. And last chapter is tables and shares. It is multiplication and division again. So up to this, up to class 4, what is expected from a student, if you judge a student? So first thing, we should see that whether he can count the numbers properly, whether he or she can compare the numbers properly, whether he or she can transact the numbers properly, and then multiply, addition, subtraction, whether he or she can do properly, and what is the concept of fractional numbers, if he has something. Very simple introduction of halves and quarters towards fractional numbers. So in up to class 4, I should say what is required, that they should be good in whole natural numbers, they should be good in whole numbers, and then they should have a introductory thought of halves and quarters, not even fractional number properly. Proper fractional number will come later stage. First they will get acquainted about what is half, what is quarter, something like that. So, and multiplication, this is up to class 4, and then these are the total topics, details of the topics, everything. And in this way, if you learn, then it will appear very simple. You can learn all mathematics in 1 day, 2 day, in one class. In that sense, there are many students can do that if we go in proper way. And then you see these parts and wholes. Actually class 5, what are the parts and whole? This is actual the starting of the fractional number. Then second chapter 6, be my multiple, I will be your factor. So what is being expected from the student? They should identify the factors and multiples of a number. And here little bit difficulty starts, because here prime numbers come, and common multiple, common factors, all this new concept comes. So here a little bit difficulty starts here, and a little bit difficulty in fractional numbers. So up to 5, I think all mathematics, everybody knows all those things, but they should know it that up to class 5, they only learned natural numbers and whole numbers. We are not being introduced even integers till date. So there is no negative number operation in class up to class 4 and 5 also, I should say, because you cannot give a student 3 minus 2, what is that, and he should write the answer 1. So 2 minus 3, what is the answer? If he cannot do that, we should not tell that he is not intelligent. We should not teach that 2 minus 3, because in whole number and natural number we cannot add any negative number. So 2 minus 3 is minus 1. Minus 1 is a negative number, and which is integer, and integer is not being taught up to class 4. So we should not expect that a student should reply 2 minus 3 is equal to minus 1. So many times we ask a student randomly like that, and when they fail to answer those questions, we just tell them, yeah, you are good for nothing. But it is not like that. It is as per our syllabus. So this is the thing. Again, then chapter 10 we use tenths and hundreds. Tenths and hundred. So why we this is a place value. We start place value, and unit place, tenth place and hundredth place, like that we start, and then ways to multiply and divide. There are different ways, and still you can say that there is not introduced integers. So class 5, up to class 5, we should very categorically understand that we are only learning natural numbers and whole numbers, and when we learn all those things in isolation, we forget that which chapter or which topics we are learning. We are learning only natural number system and whole number system up to class 5, and some fractional numbers. Fractions comes earlier than integers. In the sense, why it comes? Because it requires in our daily life issue. From that perspective, you see that what number we require some numbers for counting. Second number we require for transaction, comparing, all those things. So we can manage with those numbers in whole number system and natural number system. But it is very difficult to express this idea of half or quarter or 3/4 with natural numbers or whole numbers. So we introduce the fractional numbers there. But still negative numbers is not in there. In human society, there was a great issue for introduction of negative number. There were many people used to feel that there should be some number who are called negative numbers, but many opposed them. Opposed in the sense they used to think what is not there, so why you require a number, means minus 3 means nothing is there, I don't have anything, minus 3. So when the thing is not there, so why a number is required for that? So there was a lot of resistance, but ultimately those are learned people, great minds, they have introduced those numbers, and it is now taken. And when we learn this is appears that it is so obvious, it should be like that, but it is not. It should be like that. It took almost thousands of years to introduce these negative numbers. So that is the thing, because one fellow who suggests that we should have something, then 10 people oppose that. It is because we are always always we like inertia. The system as it goes on, we want to be continued like that. Nobody want to change. So resistance comes most. One person proposes that minus 2, minus 3 numbers is required. 10% oppose. We want to maintain a status quo. Our system is going on like that, and let it go like that. So this is the thing with number system. Now these are the chapters in class 5. I am not going in details, but I am trying to put a nutshell what we number system we learn in all these 10 years. So now class 6. Now you see that class 6 there are 7 chapters. 7 chapters. First thing is that again we knowing your numbers. So knowing your numbers, this chapter deals with natural numbers. and then second chapter it again repeat that whole number. So you can say whatever we have learned up to class 5, we are just repeating or extending that thoughts in class 6. And then playing with numbers means addition, subtraction, something they are doing. And in playing of these numbers, we face the problem of some numbers as I was thinking, what should be the 2 minus 3, what should be the answer, what should be the predecessor, and then subsequent numbers. So 2, what will be before that 1, and after 2 is 3. So what will be the 0, then what after that it is 1. So what should be the before? So there should be minus 1, but it was not that obvious. So later phase we introduced that integers. So class 6 we got first integer. So whenever we ask for any students up to class 5, we should not expect that they should be answering that integers problem. So when we got integer, then our number system, earlier I should say only we are dealing in half part of number line. Half part in the sense geometrically, if we think that we are drilling 0 and positive side of all numbers. So this was natural numbers and whole numbers, and that fractional numbers also, this is right up portion of from 0 to positive side. So all negative side there was no number, and up to whole number we can say that we had discrete numbers, means 1, then gap, then 2, then gap, then 2. That what I mean to say, that it is not a continuous line, it is a pillar sort of thing. A pillar here, and second pillar is at some distance, a third pillar is in some distance, like that. So playing with numbers, all these things again led to the development of integers. And next, fraction numbers, whatever we have learned in parts and wholes, like that, in those things. And here comes the problem of fractions, and this is the real addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all the operations what we do in fractions. So this is our number system. So when we get this number system up to fractions, then our number system becomes continuous, minus infinity to plus infinity. And fraction again, it is only positive side. So left side is geometrically you can think that it is discrete numbers, and right side of the number system, it is a continuous number system. Now comes decimal. Now question comes, what is the decimal required? Why we require decimals? So here our answer is that in fractions we get suppose 5 by 13 into 7 by 570. So in that case we don't we face very difficult for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and comparing the numbers. When the denominator of a fraction number is very awkward, then comparison becomes very complex and difficult. So in that case, if we make something a uniform denominator, fraction having a numerator and denominator. So decimals, if we get a uniform denominator, then it will become very easy for calculation. So naturally, natural way that decimal started. So now you can say we are having number system, many of the number system which starts at natural number, then whole number, then fractional numbers, then integers, then up to this, and then lastly with that fractional numbers we can solve many of the things, and in that simplification of fractional numbers we get decimal numbers. So this is the next good advancement of our system. When we do calculation in decimal system, then the fractional number system, it becomes very easy and simple to compare, to multiply, add, divide, all those operations in decimal numbers. So now ratio and proportion, this is another thing. Why we require ratio and proportion? Now fractional numbers, when we see that fractional every time whatever we have learned from the very beginning of natural number, whole number, then integers, fractional numbers, all this system we require to compare the what is the biggest number, smallest number, longer length, shorter length, all those things we have used that. So here we can say that this fractional this is one type of comparison where we used to generally use subtraction. So my age is 15 and my brother's age is 20. So who is age is more? So we divide, subtract. So this is comparing. So 20 minus 15. So 5 years older my brother, something like that. Like that, very easily we can compare. But that comparison with division, fraction number gives us a better tool for comparison with division. So that is actually ratio, and ratio, when two ratios are compared we get the proportion. So very simple way, if we learn these things in this way, then this is actually fractional number, which becomes very difficult for many to conceptualize. So suppose one half divided by half. So what will be the thing? So half divided by half, what we get? 1. So I had a half apple, I divide this apple by half and I get a single apple. Like that, many confusing things start coming up when we deal with what I should say these fractional numbers. So these are the difficulties. So when we get these techniques of comparing with decimal numbers, it becomes very to some extent simple. But with ratio and proportion we can make the comparison more effective. Comparison, there are another tool will come for comparison. I will tell it after that. So with that you can say that up to this we have learned natural number, whole number, integers, fractional numbers, decimals, and ratio and proportion. Ratio and proportion also I am telling that this is one sort of numbers which is comparison by division and comparison of two proportion ratios or proportion. So this is also, I should say, one system of numbers. So with that we go to the next class. Let us see. Next class you can see this class 7. There are 5 chapters, and here you will find that integers again repeated to some extended thoughts on integers. Then fractional, decimal, there are also some extended thought of fractional or decimal, what was introduced in class 6. This point I was telling earlier, that it is not that when you come to class 7 you don't require anything from up to class 6. You can see that this 7 is extension of up to class 1 to 6. So if you just forget about what you learned 1 to 6, then you will never get good score in class 7. You will not understand many of the ideas because those basic ideas was taught in class 1 to 6. So when we come to class 6, we sell our books on class 6 and lower classes. but I think my suggestion is the students, at least you should keep your mathematics book, because mathematics book is a journey. You have started a journey to learn a long, you have to go step by step to reach a deeper position. So here you should keep all those books from earlier classes, and those are not keeping. These books are very cheap. Government gives a huge subsidy on those books, and you get at very cheaper rate. So I think every student should keep these books, and I should say that those are very good students, those have affinity towards mathematics, those who love mathematics, they should purchase from 1 to 12 books together, because if when you compare with my syllabus, what I am summarizing today, you will see that all these topics are related topics. And this is the problem when I in school days I faced actually. Whenever I used to solve problems related to suppose integers, I used to feel that that chapters abruptly closed. So that time I never realized that something will come in next class. I think this chapter there should be something, but there is nothing. You cannot go beyond. So those are like that. They can immediately check the higher class topics, and they can have this continuity. They can learn those continuity. So like that. So here no sorry. So integers, then again fraction and decimals, this is thing, and here comparing quantities, say again ratio and proportions. So with that now we have got rational numbers. So you can see that till class 6 we are studying fractional numbers, and only class 7 we are being introduced rational numbers. So rational numbers when we introduce, then what is the advantage we get? You can say this right side portion of our number system was continuous when you introduce fractional numbers, but now it is very good rational numbers. When the rational number is being introduced, then negative part of the number line also get continuity. So it was discrete earlier, and now it will become a continuous number line. And in this class, exponent and powers has been introduced. So they are actually why we require this exponent and powers, because when we study these large numbers, no, suppose you want to measure the diameter of the sun, diameter of the earth, the distance between earth and the science, the speed of light, speed of sound. So these are the very large numbers, and working with that large number, it will fill your page. If you take a pi in suppose pi is a irrational number, and if you want that pi, I should write the values of pi up to 500 decimal points, then this whole page will be take one number. So it is very difficult to express those large numbers in calculations, and multiply, add, also becomes very difficult. So in those cases we use exponents and powers. When we exponent and powers we start using, then what happens, there is a many properties of this exponent and powers you will find, and this makes your life very simple in calculating very large numbers easily. So these are the very interesting chapters actually, exponents and powers. So you can learn these things in there. So what I am telling from class 1 to 12, you can see there is a continuity of learning, and every time they are adding a new topics, as per requirement of our life. We start from learning class 1 to 9, now number 1 to 9, and then we are dealing with very large number, and we are trying to make the life simple by introducing exponent and power. So all these things, if you learn from the applicability angle, then you will mathematics will become very entertaining and enjoyable and easy to understand. So now class 8 you can see there are 8 chapters again, and these rational numbers started, and square roots. So a square and square root is frequently appear in our calculation, particularly when we deal with areas, with deal with volumes. Then the squares and square roots becomes very common, and you will find very fascinating properties of these squares and cubes, and I think everybody should enjoy this subject. Those even passed out, even they reached in PhD level or some level, they should buy this class 8 book, and they should relearn, relook on these squares and square roots, the properties of these things, cubes and cube roots. They are very nice, and you will enjoy, definitely you will enjoy these things. So with this next coming again comparing quantities. Again comparing quantities, it is not that comparing by subtraction, it is comparing by division, means by ratios and proportions. So this is the thing. Again we introduce in chapter 12 exponent and power. We have learned in class 7 also exponent and powers. Here also repetition to that thing. Then the concept of direct and inverse proportion. This is also for comparing quantities, and rest is factorization. This is another thing we have studied factorization in class 6, I think. Then this factorization coming again in class 8 for this. And then playing up with numbers means this is also related to that whatever we have learned, that application of those thoughts. Then class 9 is a single chapter, it is number system. So number system, here we have many ideas about whatever we have learned in earlier classes. And then there are some class 10 we introduce real numbers. So I think somewhere I missed irrational number, introduction of irrational numbers. Okay, this number system, I think in class 9 they introduce irrational numbers. I have to check what is being done, but you can also check that irrational numbers is come in between. So total number system again is being taught in class 10. Class 10 it is real number. So this real numbers system, when we talk about real number system then you will find that this real numbers starts with natural numbers, all whole numbers, all fractional numbers, all integers, all rational numbers, and then all irrational numbers. Irrational numbers, I think in class 9 they have introduced. It is not specifically mentioned here, but what I remember, it is in deals with irrational numbers. So when this irrational numbers is taught, and this arithmetic progression means it is also some operation on series, I should say, introduction of series. And series plays a major role in our daily life, and the introductory part is there, and it is also a systematic calculation of summation, or similarly we will get multiplication also, summation of sequences and series, all these things will come. Then 11 comes these complex numbers. So this is also a very crucial part, what I should say, complex number. When we ask for why we require complex number, in our book it is generally written that when we face problem in solving quadratic equations, we require some numbers which is complex. But for me it is not like that. If we see the trend of how we are facing the problem in one number system, then our new number system adds. So in that sequence, if we think that why we require complex number, so my thought is that up to real number here, this is the real number system. You can see that up to real number system, whatever is being taught, it is in single line, in a line. It starts with a 0 and extend towards right to infinity and extend to left to infinity. So it is a continuous line from 0 to minus infinity to plus infinity. So all numbers are belong to the real numbers. But whatever is there, we live in a 3D world. We are not living in a line. So up to 10, whatever we do, two numbers we add, we get a number which falls in number line. We multiply two numbers, it falls in number line. We whatever operation we do it with two real numbers, it will be a real number. So in that way we move always in one line, and this is the 70% of our daily problem we can solve with that number system. So that's why when a person do not learn advanced mathematical concept also, he can manage his daily operations without any problem. They can do all mathematical concept easily. But problem comes here when we go for 2D plane, because we live in a 3D world, and first it comes a line, then it is a plane. So when we get a plane, how we can in a number line we can pinpoint a point with a number, or a number can be pinpointed with a number. So similarly, is there any number which can locate a particular point in plane? So my answer is yes, that is the complex number. Complex number is a number which can locate any point in a plane, or any point in plane can be expressed as a complex number. So this is the thing, and that is the requirement. Main requirement for complex number is not this, not that solving quadratic equation. Solving quadratic equation and actual problem, it was a not quadratic equation. The main problem we are faced problem in solving cubic equation. When we first tried to solve a cubic equation, so one of our mathematician, he got some numbers which is very difficult to explain what those numbers is. His process was right, but initially he thought that there may be some mistakes, these numbers cannot happen, so he discontinued his research. But future generation mathematician, they have also worked on that same line, and then they realized this number has some significance, and they then taken that it is not coming by mistake, it is coming by systematic work, derivation of the cubic equations. And then we got the idea of complex number. But it took around 200, 300, 400 years to adopt it as a complex numbers in our number system. So we got first imaginary number, then imaginary number and real number added to get a complex number. So this is the thing introduced in class 11. And then again chapter 7 is permutation and combination. When we talk about permutation or combination, we think what we are doing, what is the purpose of these two chapters. And if you think that if we work on that, you will find that this is nothing but the counting. Permutation and combination is the science of counting. You are counting many different real life problems. So this is the technique of counting, and permutation and combinations are for that. So when we introduce permutation combination, we many times we learn the formulas, we learn apply it in solving our problems without knowing that what for actually. So the main purpose, one way we can say that it is one way of helping us in counting different things. So permutation, then comes a binomial theorem. Binomial theorem having a pattern, and we use those pattern, though it starts with that a plus b whole square, then we get some numbers, and if we a plus b to the power n, then we get some numbers, and this n depending on m, the coefficient of the expansion of this binomial identities having some pattern. This pattern is study of this pattern is binomial theorem. And then sequence and series, again we started that AP earlier classes, and then here also we start sequences and series, and which is most important in many daily life problems, but it is a must for learning calculus. Calculus is a calculus having a subject. Calculus, you can see that up to this calculus has not been introduced here. So you can think from the topics whatever we have learned till now. So, and the rest of the topics are whatever is there. I talked about the chapters on numbers. These are the number system that we are required to learn, and we should also understand the why we require different types of number system, what is their utility, how we can benefit there. And in between, when we talk about this is comparing quantities, no, squares, roots, and comparing quantities, this chapter 8. Here I think there will be one thing will come, percentage. So that is also why we do percentage. We will think that we convert into the 100, but it is not like that. This percentage is used for comparing. Comparing also means we have used first subtraction for comparing, then proportion for comparing, then decimals for comparing, then ratio proportion we have done, then again this percentage is also for comparing quantities. So some bank gives 5% interest, some bank gives 6% interest. So we choose that 6% interest when we deposit our money, like that. But when we go for taking a loan, we go for this who is charging less percentage of interest. So that way you can use percentage of for comparing. So when we learn this percentage, we forget what for we are learning that. If you keep in mind that it is used for comparing, then your focus will be entirely different and you can easily learn all those concepts written, because there are many problems given which is really puzzling. But if you have clarity on your thoughts that what for we are learning, then it will be a very simple thing to understand. So with this I'll be and you can see this class 12 there is no chapters in numbers. There are many other chapters, and these are the things I have elaborated these ideas. And with this I can stop with these ideas today, and next class I will express what actually we are doing in learning mathematics. Okay, so thank you for nice watching, and thank you very much. We'll meet in our next session in part 2. Thank you.